Okay guys, this is the question 1. This is the melody from your exam. So we can see we're in 6/8 here, and it looks like we're in the key of B flat because I've got two flats, B flat and E flat, but then there's a random note in here. So there's an F sharp in here. If this note is here, if there's an extra accidental that doesn't seem to belong, you know we're not in the key that we think we're in. So it looks like B flat, so it must be the relative minor. So how do we figure it out? Well, you go to the sixth of your scale. So B flat would be 1, B, C, D, E, F, G. So G minor is the key. And then we know for sure if it's G minor because this note here should be the 7th in the scale of G minor. So it'd be G, A, B, C, D, E, F. It'll be F sharp. So yeah, we're in G minor. Now, what we'll do, and a load of you forgot to do this, you write out your chord bank. So we're in the key of G minor. So again, we've got two flats and we've got a sharp. So we've got G, B flat and D, A, C, E flat, B flat, D, F sharp, C, E flat, G, D, F sharp, A, E flat, G, B flat, and F sharp, A, and C. And we can't use chord 3 and we can't use chord 7. Now we're in the key of G minor and we are going to have to change to the relative major. The relative major is the key that it looks like in the first place. So it looks like B flat. And the way to find that out is you just go to the third of your scale. So 1, 2, 3. So the key of B flat is the key we're going to go to. So you just write out your chord bank then in the key of B flat. So B flat, D, and it's F natural now going forward, right? So B flat, D, and F. C, E flat, G, D, F natural, A, E flat, G, B flat, F, A, C, G, B flat, D, and A, C, E flat. So we are not allowed to use chord 3 in this key, and we're not allowed to use chord 7, but actually the only two chords we are going to use are going to be chord 2 and 5. We'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, so first, look at what they've given us. So first of all, anyway, there's an anacrusis. So we have to remember to put in an upbeat at the end of every 4 bars. So they've put it here, which means in our last bar, we're going to leave only 5 beats in the last bar because this is the 6th beat. Now, in this bar, we've got a G, we've got a D, a G, a B flat, and a D. So that's the chord of G minor. So that's the chord we're going to be playing with in our development. Then the second bar, we've got C, a rest, and E flat. Now, in the chord of C, I have C, E flat, and G. So C, E flat, and G. That's my chord of C minor, E flat again. Now D. D is not in the chord, but it's a passing note because it goes E flat, D, and the next note they had was C. So that D was a passing note. But it's just something to trip you up, so we'll be careful with that. Okay, so if you were doing, retrograde, that would be a bit messy because it's not in our chord. Now, then I've got C, B flat, and A. I've got E flat, and G. This is just our imperfect cadence, and then we've got D, E natural, F sharp, and D. So look, one little note there. If you're approaching the 7th from underneath, you should raise the 6th as well. It's a stupid little rule, but it is a rule all the same. So look, if in doubt, leave it out. It's just that this is what they did here. So I'm just explaining why. So it goes D, E natural, F sharp, and D. So D, F sharp, and D. This is the chord of D major. So look, they left a beat short there. So if we're counting, right, these are 2 quaver beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they left out the 6th one. So you have to put in the 6th one. That's going to be your upbeat because of the anacrusis, and there's going to be an anacrusis, or an upbeat, I mean, at the end of every 4 bars. So this is the chord of D major. This is the chord 5, setting us up for the chord 1 again. Okay, so we're going to do our first development here. So look at what they gave you. They gave us G, D, G, B flat, and D. So the only change I made there was this high G, I just turned that into a low G. That's all. And everything else stayed the same. So it goes G, D, I went G, D, but G from underneath. And then G, B flat, and D. Same as G, B flat, and D. I only made a slight change. Now, development number 2. What did they do here? So they went C, rest, E flat, G, E flat, D. So I went C, D, E. So I just put in a passing note where they didn't have a passing note at all. So C, rest, E flat. I just put a D where that rest is. So C, D, E flat. And then I went G, E flat, and D. So I still have my passing note because I knew I was going to go to C next. So it's still a passing note. Now, what we have to do here in bar 7 and 8, we're going to modulate to the relative major. So the relative major again is the B flat major. We know that because it's the third chord. 1, 2, 3. That's the name of the key that we're going to. We're going to B flat major. So we need to modulate using chord 2 going to chord 5 in the new key. So here's my chord 2 and my chord 5 that I've highlighted. Chord 2 is C, E flat, and G. My chord 5, very important, it's F natural, A, and C. So my C minor, I just went C, G, E flat, and G. Just kept it to the notes of the chord. And then I went F natural, A, C. So I just used the notes on my chord here. F natural, A, C, and then F natural again, and A. I don't have to put in a natural sign here because this natural sign carries for the whole of the bar. Once this bar is over, that natural sign is gone. So remember again, factor in your upbeat at the end of every 4 beats. Every 4 bars, there's going to be an upbeat. Now, the next one here, we're going to do a sequence, but we're in the new key now, we're in the relative major. So it looked like we're in B flat at the start. We're now in B flat. So I started on my third note there. I went B flat, C, and D. So I went D, B flat, F, D, B flat. Dun, 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 dun. So dun, 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 dun. I took that idea, copied it, and I moved it here. So if I start on the line here, D, I'm going to take that D and bring it down to B flat here. Start on that line, bring it down to this line. Then I went to the middle line here, so I'll go to the line below that. I was up in this line, so it brings it down to that line. It's in this line, it brings it down to that line. I was on this line and I brought it down to that line. So you literally copy and paste that idea here, but you just bring everything one line lower. It's fairly foolproof there. That now is the B flat major chord, and this is the G minor chord. We're going to do an imperfect cadence now in the original key. So the original key is G minor. So an imperfect cadence, and I went from chord 4 to chord 5. Okay, chord 4 to chord 5. So I went, what did I do there now? I went C, and I robbed this idea from bar 2. C and the rest in the E flat. So I did that again. C, rest, E flat. Then I went G, C, G. So just the notes on my chord. And now we're going back to the original key, which is G minor. So C minor going to chord 5 of G minor. Chord 5 is D major. So I've got an F sharp. I did an octave leap there, F sharp to high F sharp, and then I went to D. All right. So D, F sharp. And then here's my A. So I have all 3 notes of my chord. F sharp, D, and A. A, I've highlighted. Here is my upbeat, bringing me into the next bar. So I'm doing a development now of bar 1 again. Look at bar 1. It goes G, D, G, B flat, D. I was thinking of retrograde, and then I change it a little bit. So I just went D, B flat, D, D, B flat, D. And I did these 2 beats here. So we literally could have swapped this bit and this bit. So that's more or less what I did. I just didn't do the high G there, but you can do. So there's my development of bar 1. My development of bar 2. So it goes C up to E flat. I went E flat down to C. So the same idea, I just mixed the 2 of them. I just swapped the 2 of them. And then it went G, E flat, D. I went G, E flat, G, because I didn't want to do the passing note this time. All right. Then we ended with a perfect cadence. So I'm using D, C, D. So C is my auxiliary note. And then I went A, G, F sharp. So this is D major, going back to G minor. So ending on G minor. Remember, we have to factor in the anacrusis. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my my 6 beats there. So, and you have to end on La. If you're in the key of G minor, you end on G. If you're in the key of D minor, you end on D. If you're in the key of F minor, you end on F. You end on the name of your key. So end on La. La, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Si, La. So end on G here. Leave a quaver beat out at the end because of the anacrusis at the start. Then you have to do your phrasing, which I didn't do. So the phrasing starts on the anacrusis. All right, so anacrusis 2. Sorry, it's hard to hold the phone when I do this. Anacrusis 2. So it's 4 bars. Anacrusis up until the next upbeat. The upbeat is where the phrase starts. Now, notice how I tried to keep it like, I hate the way they started off. They go bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, bar 4. In an ideal world, really, and to make it as easy as you can for the corrector, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and simple for the corrector. Don't give them a chance to mark you wrong. So we're going to do again our little phrase mark up until the second last beat. The upbeat is where the new phrase starts. Same again to the second last beat there, and then the phrase again starts on the upbeat, and that just gets us to the end. And then we have to do some articulation there as well. So it says moderato, so it's going to be a moderate pace, and it starts off on F, so it's loud. And then let's do moderately louder, MF. And then let's go MP, why not? And then we're going to say F. We want to get it loud here again. Now, here's my development. I'm going to do a crescendo here. I'm going to do a decrescendo here. We get quiet. And then just copy what they did at the start, F. I might put in a moderately loud here. Go F. And then we do a crescendo down to the end. And an FF here at the end. Nice and loud there. Okay. This is hard to hold the phone up above the thing when you're writing and talking. I hope it came out okay. Yeah, any questions, let me know.